Welcome to Resilient Minds and Relationships, the podcast dedicated to exploring connection, healing, and growth.
Hosted by Kathryn Fayle, licensed professional counselor, national certified counselor, and certified sex addiction therapist. This podcast dives into real conversations about strengthening relationships, navigating challenges, and building emotional resilience.
Kathryn and her team provide expert insights and practical tools to help you improve communication, heal from betrayal, and deepen intimacy.
Tune in each week to gain powerful strategies, fresh perspectives, and actionable steps to create the thriving relationship you deserve.
Start your journey towards stronger, healthier connections today.
Welcome back to Resilient Minds and Relationships. I'm Kathryn Fayle, and today we're going to be talking about something that is at the core of every healthy, lasting love, and that's secure functioning. Secure functioning isn't just about trusting your partner or feeling safe in your relationship. It's about building a relationship based on fairness, mutual care, and emotional security. It means knowing that even in the hard moments, your relationship is a place where you are safe, where you are seen, and you are supported. Now that sounds great, doesn't it? But let's be honest, relationships aren't always easy. Sometimes we get caught in old patterns, we misinterpret each other's intentions, and we find ourselves reacting instead of responding. That's why today we're going to unpack why secure functioning is essential, what it does for both partners, and why it can sometimes feel difficult or even frustrating to achieve. I'm also going to share a few real-life examples to help you see how these concepts play out in relationships. And here's the big question that I want to explore today. Are you and your partner truly best friends, or are you just soulmates riding on chemistry? Because love isn't about chemistry. It's about commitment, consistency, and emotional attunement. And trust me, the best relationships are built on more than passion alone. So before we get started, I just want to dive in and introduce myself again for any of our new listeners, and also to let you know why this work is so rewarding for me. So as mentioned earlier, I'm Kathryn Fayle. I am a professional licensed counselor, a national certified counselor, and a certified sex addictions therapist. Most of my work is on helping couples build trust, repair wounds, and create deeper emotional connections. And let me tell you, this is some of the most rewarding work I do. I've worked with so many couples who's walked into therapy feeling hopeless, believing their conflicts, their emotional distance, or even their trust issues were too big to overcome. But what I've seen over and over again is this. When couples commit to secure functioning, they transform in ways they never thought possible. So let me tell you about Jake and Emily. That's exactly what we're going to call them today. When they first came to me, they felt stuck in a cycle of blame and distance. Emily felt unseen, Jake felt criticized, and they both feared being vulnerable with each other. But through our work together, they learned how to show up differently, how to create a secure base for one another. And today their relationship is completely different. They still argue, but they argue safely. They still have struggles, but they navigate them as a team. And that's why I love this work, because I get to help couples find their way back to each other. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's start with the fundamental question of what does secure functioning actually mean? At its core, secure functioning means both partners are fair, they're committed to emotional safety, they're able to rely on each other without fear of rejection or even manipulation, and they're willing to repair conflict rather than letting it create these long-term distances by avoiding conflict altogether. So let's real quickly talk about a real-life example. Let's call this couple Chris and Taylor. Chris grew up in a family where emotions were rarely discussed, while Taylor, on the other hand, came from a home where love felt conditional, where they had to work to earn attention and approval. Now, as adults, when Chris and Taylor argue, Chris shuts down while Taylor anxiously tries to fix things. Their relationship doesn't feel secure because deep down, neither of them fully trusts their partner is emotionally safe for them. But in a securely functioning relationship, Chris would learn to stay engaged even when emotions felt uncomfortable, while Taylor would learn that their partner isn't leaving just because they need space. Secure functioning doesn't mean never arguing. It means knowing that even in the argument, your relationship is safe. So why is secure functioning so essential? I like to say this is because love is not something you fall into, it's something you build, right? So secure functioning is important because a secure functioning relationship isn't just about feeling good. It actually changes the way our brains process the stress we experience. When we feel securely attached to our partner, our nervous systems calm down, our stress levels are lower, and our brain's able to release more oxytocin, dopamine, and serotonin, which are the chemicals that create connection and trust. But when a relationship feels unstable, our fight and flight systems activate. For example, imagine you're at a social gathering with your partner. Someone makes a comment that bothers you. If your relationship is securely functioning, you could turn to your partner immediately and say, "Hey, I feel off," and they're going to respond with care. If your relationship isn't secure, you might shut down, pick a fight, or even pretend everything is fine while resentment builds underneath. A secure functioning relationship means knowing your partner is on your team, they have your back, and even in conflict, you won't be abandoned. So, if secure functioning is so great, why is it so hard? The biggest reason, it's because our past experiences shape how we attach to each other. If you grew up in an environment where love felt inconsistent, you might struggle to believe that love can be stable. If conflict in your home while growing up meant emotional disconnection, you might feel panicked when arguments arise. An example of this, let's call them Maria and Jordan. They've been together 10 years, but over time their relationship has become more about logistics than love. Maria just assumes that Jordan just knows she loves him, so she'll stop expressing it, while Jordan assumes that Maria will always be there, so he stops checking in. And this begins that slow dread of becoming roommates. This is why secure functioning isn't just something you create once, it's something you have to maintain daily. So far, if you've been listening to this episode and you're going, "Wow, I really struggle with secure functioning," please know you're not alone. Maybe you've never had a relationship that felt emotionally safe. Maybe the thought of depending on someone makes you feel trapped, or maybe you want connection so badly you fear you'll lose yourself in the process. So I want to take a moment now and start talking about some ways that we can start moving towards secure functioning, even if it feels foreign, scary, or even downright impossible. The first thing I want you to do is identify your attachment patterns. The first step in change is awareness. Ask yourself, when I'm upset in my relationship, do I withdraw or do I pursue? Do I struggle to trust my partner's love for me? Do I feel safer when I'm emotionally distant? Let me use an example. Let's call them Ethan and Mia. Ethan grew up in a home where emotions were never really discussed. When conflict arises, he shuts down and avoids tough conversations. While Mia, on the other hand, grew up in a family where love felt inconsistent. So she often seeks reassurance, fearing that Ethan will stop loving her if she doesn't keep the connection alive. They both want security, but their default patterns keep pulling them apart. Once they started noticing these patterns, they could learn to slow them down and begin responding differently. And that's the key. Before we can change, we have to notice. The next thing I want you to do is learn how to regulate your nervous system. Remember, a dysregulated nervous system cannot create a regulated relationship. When relationships feel unsafe, our bodies react before our minds do. If you feel abandoned, your nervous system may push you to panic and seek reassurance. If you feel overwhelmed, your nervous system may force you to shut down and withdraw. The goal of secure functioning is learning how to stay in connection without your body hijacking you. Some ways to regulate in moments of distress can be to breathe before reacting. Pause and take a few slow breaths before responding. You can learn to ground yourself. Feel your feet on the floor. Remind yourself, "I am safe. I can do this." Use co-regulation. Tell your partner, "I need some help calming down right now." It's not about never feeling triggered. It's about learning how to bring yourself back to a secure place when you are. The next thing is learn to communicate your needs clearly and without blame. Your partner cannot meet needs that you do not express. One of the biggest barriers I see in the couples I work with, that prevents them from moving towards secure functioning is these unspoken expectations. If you expect your partner to just know what you need, you're going to be disappointed. We're different people with different outlooks on the world. If you wait until you're already hurt or angry to communicate, well, I'm sure you've experienced that, and all that's going to be is one giant attack. Instead of making sure that we're being heard in these ways where we say things like, "You never listen to me," why don't you take a moment, breathe, ground your feet, find that security, and try saying it in a different way. Something like, when I talk about my day, I really need to feel heard. Can we set some time to check in together today? Instead of being the one who says, "You always shut me out, you never want to talk," try saying, "I notice that when we argue, you get really quiet, and I just want to understand what's happening for you." Clear, non-blaming communication shifts relationships towards security because it invites collaboration instead of defensiveness. Next is to learn to shift from fear-based love to friendship-based love. Like I've said before, less gets you through the door. Friendship is what keeps you in the house. If you want a secure, functioning relationship, you have to ask, is my relationship built on friendship or just passion? Passion is exciting, but it's temporary. Friendship is safe, steady, and long-lasting. I like to tell a lot of my couples, I'd rather you be best friends than soulmates. A couple of people have been offended by that statement, but the way I look at that is soulmates come with expectations. And I just mentioned earlier, sometimes we don't understand those expectations, right? We have to be able to talk about our needs clearly. But best friends, you can totally screw up, and a true best friend will call you out, but still be by your side the whole time. So again, instead of it being all about passion, I would enjoy all of the couples that I get the pleasure of working with, or even those listening to this podcast, to be able to move into that friendship. Because again, it is safe, it is steady, and it is long-lasting. Many people believe that love should always feel intoxicating, but the truth is love evolves. That's why the strongest couples are also best friends. They laugh together even in hard times, they create rituals of connection, and they choose kindness even when frustrated. And let me say, maybe sometimes it takes them a little bit to get back to kindness, but they do circle back. Secure functioning isn't just about solving problems. It's about creating joy and connection in the everyday moments. Last, I want to remind you, seek help when you need it. The strongest couples are not the ones who never struggle. They are the ones who get help when they do. If secure functioning feels far away, that doesn't mean it's out of reach. Therapy can help you unpack old wounds. Relationship coaching can help you develop new skills. Even reading books on attachment can shift the way you see love. Secure functioning isn't something you either have or you don't have. It's something that's built day by day. And last, I want to remind you, you are not broken. If you've been struggling with security in your relationship, I want to leave you with this. You're not broken. Your relationship's not doomed, because security is something you can create. It starts with awareness, regulation, communication, and choosing friendship over fear. If you need help along the way, that's okay too. We aren't meant to figure out relationships alone. So I want to leave you with this today. Great relationships aren't found, they are built. Secure functioning is about choosing your partner over and over and over again. And if you're struggling with this, please remember you're not alone. If you want to explore your relationship patterns, I'd love to support you. You can book a session with me at Resilient Mind Counseling and Coaching through our website at www.resilient-minded.com, or you can connect with us on Instagram at resilient_mind_counseling, or even find us on Facebook. And if you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Until next time, remember to take care of your heart, take care of your relationship, and I will see you in the next episode.